Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have Mark Miller on with me. Hey, Mark.
Hello, how are you today?
I am great and so excited to
Wonderful.
talk about this topic because it's so important. So let me read your bio so that people know who you are.
Okay.
Mark Miller is the owner of Safer, Cleaner Water. He is an expert in water filtration systems and water filtration approaches. Mark is passionate about educating Americans on how to be prepared with safe, clean water in every situation, from daily tap water uses to short and long term emergencies. Mark is also the founder of UA Legacy Grants, a nonprofit organization whose mission is to help economically disadvantaged families to gain financial independence. A portion of all sales made by Safer Cleaner Water are donated to support the cause of UA Legacy Grants. All right, so Mark, come on, tell us about you. Tell us your story.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, I'll just start way back. I actually, and this may come up anyway. So a week from tomorrow is my 73rd birthday, and I've had a wonderful life. Actually, been happily married for 54 years, and all 54 of them happy.
That's
So,
amazing. Congratulations. That's a huge deal.
right. And I have five children. But just going back even further, when I was born in a parsonage. My dad was a minister, a little town of 300, and had a church there. And he had 11 children, so I have 10 siblings. I was a middle child, and a lot of things that we saw where there were challenges from economically and food even at times and different things. But overall, a good life in that way as well, as far as as far as the family. But one of the things, even starting early, I was a middle child, by the way. And when I was 4 years of age, I went to my dad one Sunday afternoon. I said, I'm supposed to preach tonight. And he said, "Oh, yeah, right." So a 4 year old child. But after the third or fourth time of persistence, he said, "All right." So said he was planning to preach after I got finished, but he put a chair behind the pulpit. I climbed up on the chair, and for 19 minutes, I preached on the Ten Commandments. I got finished and got down off the chair, and he said, "Well, I was going to preach tonight, but I think this is what was supposed to happen tonight."
Oh.
So, so that was kind of an interesting start. When I was 16, I had a very strong impression that I would have the ability at some time in my life to have a very positive effect on a very large number of individuals. And I never got away from that. I actually pastored a couple churches, and then also was on the board of directors of a nonprofit ministry for 33 years. Seen a lot of activity, and I also owned some businesses, different times, and also managed organizations. Had a lot of variety, and some would say, "Well, how come you had so much variety instead of having just one thing?" And I feel like it was because it was preparing me for what I'm doing today. And as we developed over time, there was like, okay, do this next. And there was times in my life where it's like, I don't really want to do this. It's not my thing that I really feel excited about um, doing, but I'm supposed to do it anyway. And I look back, and I used to think I would like to know, have foresight and know what the future holds. I now know that that would not be a good thing. Hindsight is wonderful, but we have a spiritual side of us that knows that we're going to receive what we receive according to divine providence and not our own plan. So I'm glad for that. So after that, then a few years ago, in fact, in 2018, I began to come to clarity on developing something, and I had a couple things that I put in place. One was a for-profit entity, and then I also when I was actually 20 years of age, I saw a large nonprofit ministry just doing a lot of different things. And I found out the reason they could do it because they had a for-profit entity that was helping finance the nonprofit. So I said that makes good sense. So in 2018, I created a for-profit, and in 2020, I created our nonprofit entity. And then we have a lot of things we'll talk about at that as we progress. But I realized at a certain point that what we have put together and what we're going to talk about today is the reason that I had the background that I've done and has brought us to this place today.
Beautiful. And so, tell us about the for-profit and about the
Okay.
nonprofit and how they work together.
Okay. All right. Briefly, with the for profit, we actually created it and we have it where we will do a lot of other things that relate. But what we did is we created and took time to do this for different things, but we created this project that we're talking about today, Safer Cleaner Water. And that's a safer, cleaner water system. It's a three-in-one solution for where everybody can have pure water for the rest of their life. So, but a lot of things led even during that process of our for-profit creation, and we did some beta tests and different things to see that we were on the right track with what we were doing and what we wanted to do. But there was another thing interesting that happened. I had known since way back those years ago that someday, and after again serving 33 years on a nonprofit uh, ministry, and it was a media ministry. Uh, I just knew that someday I was supposed to create a not for profit entity as well. So May 15th of 2020, I was on the phone with one of my assistants, and I said I need to go. Just an impression, just strong. And I just felt it was that day I was supposed to create the nonprofit. So I went to the computer 2:30 in the afternoon on a Friday afternoon, opened up and began to put in the information to create a nonprofit. And I got down to what's the purpose of the nonprofit, and there was like 20 some choices, and none of them fit. So I clicked on other, and I typed something in, it would kick it out. The fourth time, I typed in grants for debt relief, and I did that because I wanted it to be broad enough that whatever we want to do to help others, it is classified in a broad way to allow that. That was 2:30 in the afternoon. A lot of times it takes quite a while to get an approval for a nonprofit entity. But 4:30 the same day, 2 hours later, I came back to my computer and the certificate was showing on my screen,
Oh,
already
wow.
approved.
That's amazing.
So, and that just was the beginning of a lot of things that brought us to this place that we'll share with you.
Beautiful. So, talk about the nonprofit, like you said, kind of gave it a broad title or
Right,
purpose, but what
right.
is the nonprofit doing right now and how is it helping people?
Okay, what we've done, and again, with that, it took a while as well, because one of the things that we found, you think of what 2020 was, a year where a lot of challenges, and especially with raising funds. So what we did is we put everything in place. We did some beta tests with that. We saw that what we had in mind was appropriate and something that very needed, but we also realized that it may take a while to create the funds for it. So we haven't done we have done some, but not as much as we want to do. But here's what the purpose. The whole purpose of UA legacy grants is to help impoverished and families and those that have a desire to have a different change in their financial area to where they actually can become someone that's not just looking for a handout, but a hand up, where we actually can educate them and train them and give them some financial assistance to start with, but also to train them and give them not only training, but help them find a way to better their life to be productive citizens rather than having to have continual handouts. So with that said, we have put in place the thing necessary to have those to come in that have that need and desire. Bottom line, we have over 4,000 families on a wait list that are wanting and needing assistance. And we're in the process of making some things in place to raise the funds for those. But we're still having a little it's a little slow for that, and that's part of the reason also for our project we're sharing with you that we're going to talk about also. That helps to have funds that goes into that to those that need to help in areas as well. And also, there's a component with what we do with our project, Safer Cleaner Water System 3-in-1 solution that actually will feed funds into the nonprofit to help those needs. And also, it does help some individuals and families that do not have the ability to have pure water to be able to have that as well.
Beautiful. So when you said you're going to help them by training them, are you training them on financial literacy or on job skills, or what kind of training are you talking about?
Okay, it's financial literacy, job skills. That is correct. There's also one of the big challenges that we have is people in those situations that have or are going through major challenges. They don't have the emotional ability to make a change. So we have a licensed psychotherapist that is on position to actually help those in that way as well. And so their emotions, their reason to believe they can make a change, and then for how to do it and how to find a job or a position that can begin to help them in that way.
So are a lot of these people homeless, or they're just jobless, or they're just not making enough money to support their families?
All of the above. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of we have an application. Bottom line, what we found is a lot of those that have ability to help those in need, they have too many restrictions on what they can use it for or how they can get it or what they need to do and how many things they need to jump over, etc. We tried to take away all of that, but to design a form that we can know that they're real, and we can know that their need, and we allow them to share with us what their need is, and it's broad of what we allow them to do with it. Some say, well, that's too generous. Well, if you can't help them where they need it, what's the purpose? So that's what we've tried to do is structure, and that's what makes it where so many people are open to communicate with us. And the whole point, if you can help them in some way with some funds to begin the journey, then they're going to listen to you. They're going to work with you. They're going to say, "I want more," and
Mhm.
that's why we've structured it that way.
Yeah, that's beautiful because I know even government agencies, people even trying to apply for healthcare or food stamps or housing. I mean, I went
Right,
to a Section 8 housing site for Georgia and it said it's closed. No, no, not
right,
only
yeah,
they don't even have a waiting list. You can't even sign up for a waiting list. And I'm thinking, where are all these homeless people going?
right, exactly. It's and Kimberly, you're on target with exactly understanding where we are now is accelerating more than ever. And just like with our VA grants and what we've designed to help those economically challenged is perfect timing for. I mean, today, just today, I've gotten 12 forms that's been sent in for 12 different people that have needs, and all of them are variety. I mean, you some like one, for example, recently was they have everything they own. They're homeless, have everything they own in a storage facility, and if they can't figure out a way to pay that small, and in most people's mind, storage facility, they lose everything they have. And then some are single family, mothers, and some don't have any transportation to be able to get to a job. Everything is so, there's no ditto, there all kinds of things. But every single one of them, if they're, when we have the ability to have those funds available, we will allow them to use it for the right purpose, or what we also will do, Kimberly, which is important to understand, we will work with, this is nationwide where we have these coming in, but we will work with those places like shelters and homeless shelters and different things in all parts of the country for those that just need a handout or that's already working with. And then what we want to do with UA Legacy grants is pull in those that have the ability, I mean, the desire and ability to actually change their life by becoming, do helping them deliver them out from being economically challenged to being successful and getting to the place with the process, with the learning, and with the other thing, where they come to the place where they say, I can help others just like you helped me.
Beautiful. And I'm not sure if I know the answer to this question, so I'm just going to ask it. So, your for-profit company, which is the Safer Cleaner Water,
Right?
have you set that up in a way so that it can be like a MLM or what do you call it? Recommend, what do you call it when you recommend something?
Affiliate is one
Affiliate,
way.
yeah,
Right.
like an
Mhm.
affiliate type program for these people to actually be able to, so they would be getting money, but they would also be contributing to the machine that is bringing more money to the nonprofit.
You you are on target, Kimberly, with the thought process. The end result is we will help them, and it may be and would likely be. In other words, first of all, we have to help them with the starting of the journey. But secondly, in the part of the process, that is correct, and we have three or four other ways to show them how to be connected to things that will help them financially. It's not just a one thing like the water project. It's what fits them and what do they need, and we have many ways to help in that way. So yes, an affiliate type concept with the water project, and we'll talk about that later. But that's something that help. But we also have some other things that could actually accelerate even more their ability to have finances.
Beautiful. So, let's say someone has a need.
Hmm.
How would they know about your organization? Like the 4,000 people that are already on the list.
Hmm.
How did they
Right.
even know you existed to even come and ask, make a request?
Well, we have as a nonprofit entity, there's a way for Google to work with a nonprofit entity in a special way that gives us the ability to reach out to oh to reach out to those people all over the nation, and they can find us easy on Google because of the way they work with us.
Got it. So what is you probably have it in the show notes, but what is your website for the nonprofit?
uagrant.com. U like uncle, A like apple, grant, grant.com. And the UA Legacy Grants is the name of the nonprofit, but that's the website. There's not a lot of information on there because that's designed primarily for those that needing the process. There is a page on there, overview, that you can pull up that would give you a good feel of those that could help and how those that wanted to help and donate or whatever to be able to do that through that process.
Beautiful. So you said you grew up in a family of 11 and sometimes there wasn't resources growing up.
Right? Right?
And do you think that's what caused you to choose this particular nonprofit organization, or was there other things throughout your life that sent you in that direction?
There was other things as well. I'd had, as far as not in my early years, as far as water filtration, but for years I've had a concept, and I want to share something just a moment with you now, but then go to something that kind of brought me to start the water project. When I was, as far as the history, uh, when I was in the fifth grade, Dad had decided to move to. He pastored the church for years, but he moved to a different town, and I was again in the fifth grade. One day, we were having major challenges. It was a huge house. It was cold. We're in Indiana, and it was just amazing how much you remember something like this, of course, as a child. But we had not much to eat. We didn't go hungry, but it wasn't much to eat for a few days. And I one day I got measles. It was snowing outside. My mom had gone to pick up the other children that went to school. I was laying on the sofa, and a car pulled up. And the car, and I went out and stepped out. And when I stepped out the door shut behind me and locked. So I actually had to go sit in their car until Mom got home.
Hmm.
When Mom got home, we went in, and they said we felt like we were supposed to bring some food to you today. They opened the trunk, they opened everything on the car and loaded our table with all kinds of food.
Hmm.
You never forget that. So that's just an example of one thing that happened. Overall, again, we were okay, but there were times that was challenged. Dad and mom were good, and they did a good job. But anyway, that was that. But what happened that brought me to the water project, and I think that's where we're going to spend a lot of our time now, because that is something that's probably more important than most people realize. You can get by without air for maybe 3 minutes, and then you have a challenge. You can get by without water for 3 days, and you begin to have a challenge. You can get by without food for nearly 30 days. But if you don't have water, you can't do anything with food a lot of times. You have to have water to do something with that. So water is one of the most important things that we could have and that we need. It was just about 12 months ago. I was in a service. It was a church service, and a missionary from Central America came. And as they were there, they began to talk about how they had a filtration system that could help the lives of those that they served in the foreign country. And they talked about how one of the biggest challenges in those foreign countries for children, the number one reason for death is bad water, dirty water. And also with adults as well as children, the things related to diarrhea and such as that, things such as that. And a lot of children would die, and 55% of the population was having major challenges with their digestive system and such. But they would go in and they would share with them a water filtration system that wherever they were in any part of the world, and using this example in Central America, they could have pure water every single day for them and their family, and up to 300 people could actually be served pure water every day with that one system. So they would talk to them about that, and then they would also share about the fact that is the water that you need to live, but there's the water of life, talking about Christ and the things related to that as far as ministering to them in their spiritual needs as well. So I listened to that, and just something clicked in my mind, and I said, we're in a nation of 330 plus million people, and probably less than 1% has a clue of what they would do if the electricity went off, or if there was no way to get water as they normally have been getting it. What would they do? Nobody has addressed this properly. Yes, you can buy filtration systems, but a lot of them don't produce enough water for doing what needs to be done on a daily basis, whatever. A lot of them need filters every few weeks or months or whatever. A lot of expense. Anyway, and a lot of them don't do a really good job. And plastic bottles and bottled water aren't really pure, as many of them. Not as you would like for them to be. But anyway, that was the part that we began to realize that while I was sitting there. So it took me quite a few months. And when you work through something, Kimberly, sometimes it's simple. When you say it was so simple, why did it take me this long to figure it out?
Mhm.
But because nobody's done it, and you want to make it to where what's different about what we do, and why are we doing it the way we're doing it? What's different about what we do is we have the ability with the system, the 3-in-1 solution, safer, cleaner water system, the 3-in-1 solution, is to have the ability for you, with you and your family, and even others, as we mentioned, up to 300 people in an emergency, can be taken care of for the rest of their life. And that filter has a lifetime guarantee, and you don't have to replace the filter because it's designed where it's easy to backwash the filter or to use it over and over again. And again, the manufacturer has been in business 40 plus years, and it's a lifetime guarantee on the filter. So that's one. So you never have to worry about being without water, and it takes out 99.99% of everything that would make you sick, bacteria, all those things you can mention, a whole list of things. But then the one other thing it does, it takes out 100% of the microplastics. And that's a major thing right now. So that's solution one. Solution two is and this is the way I addressed it in my mind to start the process of thinking about it. We Americans are lazy. We're spoiled. I guess maybe the nice way to say it. We're used to just tap water, go there, get it, not worry about it. So we don't have the mind thought process of I wouldn't want to have to filter water every day with gravity flow system and it's slow and so the same company that has that filter that we is part of the package. The solution number two is a tap filter. The tap filter, you just put it on your tap faucet, for example, at your kitchen sink, for example, and it will filter up to 500 gallons of water per day. So the first one will do up to 150 gallons per day. And that's where I say that 300 people can be helped because 64 ounces, half gallon, is what we need to be able to sustain ourselves properly, at least. So it takes care of 300 people that way. But, uh, with the tap filter, you don't need 500 gallons a day, but it will do up to that. And they say, the manufacturer says it's 10 plus years. So 500 gallons a day for 10 years is over 1.8 million gallons, something like that. Well over a million gallons. So you're not going to need a filter for that again because that also backwashes, and you can just have as much as you need. And then that takes out everything I just described. But there's two there are two things that most people want out of their water, especially in the city, that those do not take out, and that is chlorine and fluoride. So we said, okay, what's the solution number three, or what can we do to take care of that as well? So we found what we call the ultimate pitcher filter system that will filter all of that out, as well as a lot of other things that, minuscule things that are in the water, metals and different things, and they're important to be taken out. But anyway, that one takes out those things, the fluoride and chlorine primarily in our conversation. But and the difference with that, most pitcher filters only can last 40 gallon, 100 gallon, 150 gallon, and you have to get another filter. This has that filter is from a 30 plus year manufacturer in the United States and has 2,000 gallons before you have to replace that filter. So if one person was using it, it's over 10 years. If two people, over 5 years. So 3 to 5 years before you have to buy another filter. So what do we want to do? We wanted to make it where you could have pure water for the rest of your life, no matter if there's electricity or not, and the fact that you don't have to keep buying filters, because if you have to buy filters and the electric's off and you can't go get them anywhere, what do you do? So we actually just last week, and we've done some of it, and some of it's on the website now with the different videos. But last week we had a videographer to come and spend a day with us. He lives in South Carolina. He does multi-million-dollar movies and such for major corporations. But his dad purchased one of our systems, and his dad called me one day, just a few days after he purchased. He said, "Mark, how would you feel if your website's fine, your videos are fine, but how would you feel if you had a professional videographer that worked for multi-million-dollar uh, companies and movies to come and do all of your video work that you would need?" And he said, "We live in the Carolinas, but our folks live in Michigan. And when we go to Michigan, his the father's name is Steve, his son is Steven. He said, when we go to Michigan, if it's okay, we'll stop there on our way, and we'll just spend a day recording anything you want for marketing your website." And this is a joke. I said, "Well, let me think about it." "I think so, yes." Anyway, bottom line, I didn't have to think about it. That's the point. So I said, "Sure." Bottom line, I said, "Well, first of all, how much are you talking about financially?" He said, "No, I'm not. We're not going to charge anything for it. We're going to be on our way up there, and I like what we're doing, and I want to help you market it as well. So it's at no cost." So that's a miracle, of course, a large miracle. So that happened. But anyway, I said all that to say this related to what we're talking about now. One of the things that you can do literally is go to any stream of water of any kind, no matter how polluted it is. and take that emergency filter and filter 99.999% of everything out of that water. And it comes out, you can say medium chocolate color, whatever,
Mhm.
dark, whatever. Doesn't matter how it looks. When it comes out, it's as crystal clear as anything you've ever drunk, and it has all the impurities out of
Oh, that's amazing.
it.
Yeah.
So we went to the waterfront here in our area and literally did a demo, a 2-minute demo of physically dipping a bucket, a container in the water, taking it out, filtering it through the system, and the person that filtered it, and I was there with some others, but he took it, held it up, it was crystal clear, drank it, tasted great, just like pure water.
So does that work with salt water too? Like people if they're near an ocean?
No, does not work with salt water, but rainwater, stream water, creek water, whatever. Yeah, has to be, no salt water.
Mhm.
So with that said, that's that. And then the tap filter we told you about. So what happens now with the 3-in-1 system? You have pure water with no electricity with the filter I just described. And if you want to, you can run that through the pitcher filter as well. So that doesn't have to have electricity. So without electricity, you have pure water 100%. If you have water running through your system, the tap filter takes care of that. So with electricity, you run it through the tap filter because it's faster, and you run it through the pitcher filter if you have the fluoride, chlorine, etc. So now with electricity or without electricity, you never are without pure water for the rest of your life.
Wow. So what kind of water comes out of it? Because you're just taking everything out. So are you taking all the minerals? Is like everything taken? What's left? Is it just the H, the two, and the O, or
Yeah,
so if you wanted to have minerals, would you like put your minerals back in it, or?
yeah. If you want to protect our minerals, the best way to think of it is it's 100% pure water, just pure water. Now here's an illustration, a testimonial that happened Wednesday last week. When we did that, we did 5 testimonials. All of them were different. All of them were special. And one of them, uh, she's a healing therapist, massage therapist. Primarily, she lives in a small town in Ohio, and she primarily works with people up in years and gives them health massages, and then takes care of their podiatry needs. And she said, you know, what I have to say about the water is it tastes good. In fact, it doesn't have any aftertaste,
Hmm.
and it's so good that you want to drink more. And she said, what I do once I take care of the needs of my patient or client, I offer them a glass of water in the name of Jesus, saying that if you give a glass of water in my name, you're blessed, and I
Beautiful.
want to bless you. And they take it. And she said, before I had the system, I would give them water, and it was supposed to be good, but I would give them water, but they would just drink a little bit of it and set it down. And I'd try to say, well, I can put some lemon in it. You need to drink. No, that's okay. But she said, with this, when I give them a glass of water, they drink it and say, that's the best water I've ever tasted. And she said, I'm going to help a lot of those be able to have this as well.
Mm.
And the water in our city where she has a business, little town again, is totally bad. And everybody needs what we have, Kimberly. It's not something that, okay, I don't need this. I mean, some say, well, preppers are only one need. No. Uh, One of the things that we find, first of all, again, everybody needs it. You can market to them in different ways. But what we're finding, those that are health conscious, they're concerned about what they put in their body. And this is the difference. And we did a test the other day. Uh, One of the individuals that gave a testimony as well. But the other, and what Rod says, it costs you not to buy it.
Mm.
But what we did one day with Rod took the water. He lives in the city, and he took a glass of water directly out of the tap. out of the faucet, and then he had filtered some with the tap filter, and he had some in that second glass, and then he had filtered some that came out of the tap filter and took the chlorine out with the pitcher filter. So we sampled each one. It was like, yuck, this tastes good, but this really tastes good. And then another quick story is we had a person that had brain cancer, and about a year ago, found out about it, and we got a system to them, him and his wife. They were having to spend $55 a month on bottled water because that's all he was supposed to drink. They couldn't afford it. Everything else, he was not working, of course, and his wife wasn't working. So we got a water filtration system to them. He just passed away just recently, but almost a year. So we saved them $600 for the year and gave them pure water to drink.
That is beautiful. So I'm just wondering, the system itself, does it distill the water? There's people who, it's real popular to drink alkaline water. So what is it doing to the water? Like, how is it getting? I saw your video, and everybody, you
Mm-hmm.
need to go to his website. He takes this disgusting, I mean, disgusting
Mm-hmm.
water, puts
Right,
it through the system, and it comes out crystal clear.
right.
So how is it taking that out? Is it distilling it? Is it alkalizing it? What is it doing to
No,
it?
no, it actually has the filtration system that we use for that. It's very, very close knit fibers. And a lot of there's some others that have filters like that, some other systems, but a lot of them are not with the intensity, the tightness, a zero point 0.1 micron, for example.
Mhm.
So what it does, it takes out all of the things, the bacteria, the protozoa, the E. coli, salmonella, etc. Anything that comes through there like that, and 100% of the microplastics. So it just takes all of that thing out of it and just gives what's left is just pure water. And the best way to look at that is there's a chart, and you probably saw it on the website. There's a blue chart that shows in the lab tested report of everything that it takes out of the water. And the answer to everybody that, for example, is given, what does it do? It takes out everything out of the water that makes you sick. So that's the start of a good thing. What comes in the pitcher filter, besides the fluoride and the chlorine, there are some other things that are a lot less. Put it this way, some things will make you sick over a long time, like some minerals. I mean, some of the metals and things like that. So the pitcher filter takes all of that out as well. So bottom line, it takes out everything that's not good for you. So it doesn't alkaline the water, doesn't do that. You don't have to boil the water. It actually is better than boiled water because it takes everything out that's supposed to, that needs to be taken out and just leaves pure water for
Got it. And then the filters, they last so long because are you just rinsing them backwards to like dump the stuff back the other way, or how are you cleaning the filter to make it
you.
last
You're
so
on
long?
time.
Because they almost
You're on
always
target.
get replaced every 3 months or so.
You're on target. Here, what happens if you filter water, no matter how dirty it is, and it comes out the other end 100% pure? All you have to do is there's two different ways. One is a bottle that you can use or a syringe that comes with the system that you just reverse the filter and you backwash it with the pure water you just filtered to it. You do that just 2 or 3 times, just takes a minute or so. Now that filter is back to clean, and there are literally people that that have had that same type filter for over 20 years. They did a lab test, 200,000 meters of water. There's two different ways to figure that, but a meter. But looking at the conservative way, it's like almost 2 million gallons of water that they ran through that system, and it from what it was when they put the first in to when the 200,000 meters, it was still 98.6% functions.
Wow.
which is still 100%. I mean,
So is there something that you test the water with when you're using it? Like, how do you know when the filter, even though it might be in 10 years, how do you know when it's time to replace the filter?
well, you never have to replace that filter. The first one, never replace. You never have to replace it. All you have to do is backwash it. How do you know when to backwash it? You know when to backwash it, not because there's something dirty coming out, because it's all going to be clean. But if it slows down the flow, you reverse it, backwash it. Now the flow comes back, and it's still pure water either way. But that's when you know when to do it. Like in city water, well water, etc. You don't have to do it very often. 30 gallon every 30 gallon or so. You'll know. It'll just show you that if you take water out of the stream, like what we did with what you saw and with what we did last Wednesday, a week ago, then you'd have to filter it more. Backwash it more often.
Mhm.
But you don't have to. But just like Craig, think of this, Kimberly. All these people in Dallas and Atlanta, this week in Florida, that are without electricity for days. This is not new. Something. Uh, if we can get, and not if, when we get the message to them about what we have, how many of you think could probably likely want one? The
Mhm.
system. They know. A lot of us don't know. We've never been there. you know, electric been out for a few hours. Well, it's back on now. We actually have one couple that bought it. They have a reverse osmosis system. But if you have a reverse osmosis system, it takes 4 to 5 gallon of water to get 1 gallon of pure water out of it. And if the electric's not on, you can't run any water through it.
Mhm.
So they bought a system, the whole 3-in-1 system, so they would be prepared if there was no electricity and they couldn't use the reverse osmosis. I was visiting with a pastor the other day. He has a large church and a rec center, and he said, "Well, he said I have a big RO system in here. I don't really need something else." I said, "Jesse, how long what could you do with that when the electric goes out?" He just dropped his head and he said, "You're right. I wouldn't have any pure water." So everybody needs what we have, and in different reasons. The last one that purchased it just a few days ago, he was spending him and his wife was spending $40 per month just for bottled water. And one of the videos, there's 3 videos that I'll just take real briefly to talk about. I think you'll really enjoy this. One of them is about first of all about what Rod said about it costs you not to buy it. And then we also went into the fact that if only 2 people are drinking bottled water over the course of 1 year, uh, there would be 2,920 bottles go into the ecosystem. Over a 4-year period, over 11,000 bottles. But the other thing is with our system, uh, if you if just the 2 people used it and they were buying bottled water for like 35 cents a bottle, okay, and that's kind of mid range. Some of them lower, but a lot of them higher. That would be you would actually have to come back to you 300% more than what you purchased our system for financially, and all of those things that I just described out of the ecosystem. So one analogy that we use in that is if you had a financial person that you knew 100%, you trust and believe, and he said, and our system, and that they can find it online, but it's after a promo code discount if they want to purchase it, it's around $350. If you had a financial person said, I will tell you if you give me $350 a year from now, I'll give you a 300% return. Would you do it? Probably so, if you really trust them, right? We're not asking anybody for giving us money, but to make a purchase, and that's exactly what happens, Kimberly. A year from now, they would have saved over $1,000.
Wow, that's
So it's a
amazing.
300% return. Is saving money the same as making money? The answer is yes. So that's one. The other one, what's the thing that you have? What's some of the things you have insurance on? You don't have to name them all, but we know a car, a boat, or house, etc. Everything nearly has insurance. But what's one of the most important things in your life that you need that you don't have insurance on? happen to be water, right? What if you have the ability to have the assurance, like insurance, have the assurance that you have pure water for the rest of your life for you, your family, and in an emergency up to 300 people per day?
Mhm.
Two other things briefly, as far as one of them, the other one, well, the one primarily, the one other one was I told you the Kroger story. I was going to share the Kroger story with you. As we began to develop this, I would, I would, I would go to meet with Rod sometime because he was helping me with the project, with the development of it. And he lives a few blocks behind Kroger in the town that he lives in. I live in a small town away from that. But about 6 months ago, I drove into Richmond, this is the town, and I drove about halfway through the town. All at once, all the lights were off. I was and I was going. I was a little early for my appointment, so I was going to stop at Kroger and then go after that. Well, when I got to Kroger, their lights were off. The electricity was off in that area. A lot of times, whenever I would talk to people, I would ask them, "What would you do if you didn't have electricity and you needed water?" A lot of them would say, "Well, I'd go to my supermarket and I'd just get all I could, try to be first."
Mhm.
Well, when I drove into that parking lot that day, there was a sign on the door that said closed due to power outage. That was one of my aha moments that you mentioned in your question in our thought process. That's like everybody don't realize, nobody realizes nobody's going to get any water from any grocery store or anyplace else because they can't take your money, first of all.
Mhm.
Um, so with that said, what we have, everybody does need it. And when they see it, and when I share it, when I was trying to develop the thing, I would go and look for parts and pieces until we found the simplicity of putting together something that the end result is very easy for us to have with quality and for someone to receive it and will last them the rest of their life. But in that journey of process, I would go into places looking for certain things and they would say, "What are you looking for that for? That's something different." Well, I just share with them. I I I'm having a way to help people have pure water for the rest of their life, and this is the way it works. Well, I never heard anything like that. That sounds like that would cost a lot of money. I said, well, it's going to be somewhere in the 300 or mid range in that way. Man, that's cheap for that. I can't believe you can do that. And the thing that with everything we shared, Kimberly, about the two people with the drinking water, what does it cost you for all the rest of the water that you need, no matter how much, 150 gallon a day or 500 gallon a day? All of that is free
Mhm. Yeah.
if you look at it from that perspective,
So just so people are clear on like what you have. So you have the portable one
right?
that you can take anywhere. So
Exactly,
even if I don't know, there was a place where you had to vacate your home during an emergency, you could take this bucket with this filter in it.
exactly.
And then and you said is that one and we'll go over like how much they are. So is that one like 350? Is each thing
No,
350?
every single the whole package is $347 with promo code. The whole package that you never have to buy anything for the rest of your life, except maybe 5 years, 3 to 5 years. One for the 2,000 gallon after the 2,000 gallon,
Mhm.
which is probably longer than that. So it's everything is included, including shipping, free shipping.
Wow. So it comes with the portable one. It
Exactly,
the one you put on your faucet, and then it
correct.
comes with your pitcher to take the
Picture,
chlorine and fluorine.
exactly, 100%
So you're
shipped to
all
you,
set. So if you're at
shipped
home, you're
the
using your faucet.
tap,
But if there's an
exactly.
emergency and you have to go find the pond, because I'm thinking we have a pond in our neighborhood and they make it look all pretty with like a
Hmm.
waterfall. One time I went
Right.
to kayak and I thought I'm gonna try out my kayak in the pond because
Hmm.
I
Right.
want to do something simple and easy.
Hmm.
I get my
Right.
kayak in there and I'm paddling around and that pond smells
Yeah.
so
Right.
horrible.
Right.
And I'm thinking, okay, so if I didn't have electricity, I might have to go to that stinky pond and get me
Right.
some water. So if
Yeah.
I did have to do that, when it's taking all the things out, is it the stuff in the water that makes it smell? In other words, when it cleans it, is it going to take that nasty smell out of the water, or is it still going to
It
smell
takes a,
terrible?
it's gonna take all of that, take all of that out. It's actually 99.999% pure with nothing in it except your water. With the one that you saw on our website, we went where there was a waterfall, and the water after it comes over the waterfall is dirty as well. It doesn't clean at all. But the one that we did on a week ago Wednesday, which will be on the website soon, we went above the waterfall where it was really dirty. Didn't look nice, put it that way. You can say what you want to. But in these foreign countries and places, everything happens in the water. Bathing, animals, you can name it all, and it takes all of that out. Everything.
Oh gosh, I just got the worst picture
We
in
don't want to
my
paint that
picture of
picture
the
on that. Let's
swimming
stop.
pool
Right.
and where when people
Right.
are swimming and
Right. Yeah.
and everything
Yeah.
else in the
Right.
water, and
Right.
it just takes it all out. Like you don't have to,
All out.
you're not going to get sick.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. There's lots of people across the world that have this, but hardly anybody in the nation here knows it. But that within itself is not all that you need here, because with the fact of the way we live and all the amount of water we use, the tap filter, when we do have the ability to have it, that's going to not change our lifestyle. It's going to help us have pure water without having to sacrifice everything to have it, in other words. And then, of course, the pitcher where actually it really takes all of the stuff out, like the chlorine and fluoride and other things. This is just a beautiful picture. And people, when they understand it, it's not easy for them to say, I want one.
Mhm.
And $347 is not that much money for something that takes care of you for the rest of your life and your family. I mean, Rod lives in a subdivision. In an emergency, Rod could have water for the people to drink in that whole subdivision. When I was a child, that town that Dad pastored in was 300 people. It would take care of that whole little town. So it doesn't take that many people. I mean, many. Uh, One system can do that, and just uh, if we try to show people how, for some people that can't afford it in their area, they have a system and they find those and share it with others, or are ready to if there's an emergency, for example. So, bottom line, related to why I'm doing this and have I made changes in my life, is the things that I used to do that I don't do now, and why am I just doing this primarily? Well, I had, and some relate to this and some will not, but about 4 years ago, I had the only thing I would refer to as a vision in my life. I've had, good dreams, and I've had very strong impressions, and I've seen lots of miracles. A God that does have the ability to do things above and beyond what we can imagine, according to what it says in the Word. But it was like a clear as a colored dream, but it was like I said, a vision. I was awake, and it was like I was up. I wasn't on a mountain, but I was high above. We're looking down. It was quite high, and I could see for as far as I could see, thousands, if not millions, of people coming, just raising their hands and saying thank you. And just a few days ago, I was in a meditation, and that came to me. What you're doing today is exactly what you saw. If you can get this message out to the United States and the people that are involved, that's what will happen. There are things happening in our world that we don't know yet,
Mhm.
that there will be times when we will not realize all of the things that can happen without electricity or without pure water, that we have the ability now to help everybody that has an open mind to look at it and do something. And the last thing, yesterday, I got a phone call, and if I don't know the phone number, I very seldom answer it. But I had that phone number had tried to call me early yesterday. I didn't answer it. Late afternoon, the phone rang again, same number. I let it ring 3 times, and something in my spirit said, "You need to answer this." I pushed the button, the last ring. I told the person what we have, and he was a person. Typically, what he does is helps people get leads for the high ticket type sales. That different things that you could talk about, coaches, etc. But I said, well, this probably, from what you've told me, this may not have anything that you could help me with, but let me share what I do. I talked for just a few minutes and shared just in 60 seconds the concept of the 3-in-1 solution. He said, that is unbelievable. That's awesome. He said, tell me more. Within about 10 minutes, he said, right now we're in a position where we're just starting our marketing. It's just, and, it takes quite a bit of money, whatever, and try to get somebody like that is not easy. But he said, I like what you're doing. I want to help. I have some ideas. I'm going to get with my team. And he's the owner of the company. I'm going to get with my team and we're going to help you with this to get the word out, to know how to get the word out.
That
That
is
happened yesterday.
that is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I know you're just still, very early stages, but are you working with any missionaries or any organizations? Like, are you able to ship things international yet, or we're just doing United States or Canada, or who can get the filters right now?
This is United States and Canada, and we sell it as a package, the 3-in-1 solution, not breaking it out. So yes, anybody in the United States or Canada. But every time that someone purchases one of our safer, cleaner water 3-in-1 solutions, there are others in other countries that are being helped as well with a foundation that's related to what we're doing. And every time that happens, also, we have some funds that are going into UA Legacy grants to help those that are economically challenged as well. So it's doing good. Bottom line, sow a seed, reap a harvest, giving first, and everything changes for you as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, tell us, where do we find the filters? What website do you have? How do we connect with you? Ask our questions?
It's safe. It's very simple. It's safer, cleaner water.com. That's it. You go there and it tells you everything. You saw some of the pictures, the videos, etc. There will be, and there's a buy now button, and the buy now button, you click on it, and you can get a promo code. And there's a way to get a promo code from you. I'll give you one that you can give. In fact, use a promo code LIFE, LIFE. Type in LIFE in the promo code, and when you click on it, it will take it and reduce it $50 down to $347 from $397,
Okay. I'll
and
put
then
that in the
just
show
continue the
notes too,
process.
so people
Okay,
have that.
right, and then there is also a phone number that on the website that someone could, it preferably text, and someone will respond. You can leave a message as well, but it's not usually answered. But it is something the text is received and a response will be given. And you can also leave a message if someone doesn't pick up at that time.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Kimberly, I appreciate this, and I think it's been an enjoyable time. I know it has for me, and I believe it has for you. This is something different, but something that can bless a lot of people. And thanks for letting me share it. You can tell it's from my heart,
Mhm.
and it took a process, but there's very few people I share it with that doesn't say, never heard of it, but I like it.
Yeah, I love it. So now I have a
Yeah.
personal question.
Yes.
What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Well, whenever I see people that, first of all, they do care about others. Secondly, they have honesty and integrity. And thirdly, that they always forgive no matter what happens.
Beautiful.
Unforgiveness does nothing but hurt you. It doesn't hurt the other person you're holding it against.
Hmm. So true. So true. So, well, thank you for being on the podcast today and for sharing this. And, I'm going to talk to you more about, how I can help share it too, because our world
Thank
needs
you.
it. Our world needs it.
Exactly. Thank you, Kimberly. Bless you.
Yeah. So I have one last question before we finish.
Yes.
What is
Mhm.
your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Well, look for the things on purpose that helps others. There comes more joy to you when you give more than when you receive.
Right. That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Mark. We'll
Okay.
talk to you again soon.
Thank you.